Hello everyone, my name is Min.
Hello everyone, my name is Hin. Today we read English story.
Start.
I was born into a rich and important family in Tehran, Iran.
I was the younger of two daughters, and we were the only children.
My sister was 6 years older than me, so we didn't play much together. When I was young, I was only 12 years old when she got married.
I remember that day of her wedding well. Many people came, all of them laughing, singing, and happy, but I felt sad when my sister left with her new husband, Mr. Curran.
She were always very nice to me, nicer than my mother, and so I cried when she went away to her new home in Dublin.
My mother and father didn't love me. They wanted sons and were not very interested in me.
About a year after my sister got married, a letter arrived from Mr. Carroll. He said my sister was ill, that she wanted to come home to Tehran and stay there to be with her family.
I was sad that he was ill, but also very happy about her visit. They live in Dublin. On Sunday, my father told me.
And they are arriving here on Tuesday evening. Tuesday came. It was a very long day. Hour after hour came and went. I listened on the phone for my sister and her husband.
Now the sky was dark and soon it was midnight, but I couldn't sleep. I listened and waited.
Suddenly, at about 1 o'clock in the morning, I heard a noise far away. I ran out of my bedroom and down to the living room. They are here, I called to my father. And we quickly opened the front door to see better. We waited there for a few minutes.
And we heard the noise again, somebody crying far away in the night, but we saw nothing.
There were no lights and no people there. We went outside, waiting to say hello to help my sister with her bath. But nobody was there. Nobody came. I looked at my father. He looked at me. We didn't understand.
I know that heard a noise. He said, yes, I answered. I heard it too, father, but where are they? He went back into the house without another word. We were suddenly afraid.
The next day a man arrived and told us about my sister were dead. On Sunday she fell very ill.
On Monday she
was and on Tuesday at about 1 o'clock in the morning she died. At the same time that we were outside the house in the night, waiting for her, I never forgot that night.
Never forgot that night. For the next 2 years, I was very sad. I could say that I stopped living. I didn't want to do anything or speak to anyone.
Mr. Carroll soon married another young woman in Dublin, and I feel angry that he forgot my sister so quickly.
I was now the only child of a rich and important family, so before I was 14 years old, men started to visit our home.
They wanted to meet me and perhaps to marry me, but I didn't like any of these men, and I thought I was too young to be married.
When I was 16, my mother took me to Dubai. Dubai is a big city, she said.
We are going to meet richer and more interesting men than the ones back home in Tehran.
We can easily find you a good husband in Dubai.
In Dublin, I began to be happier. I met a lot of friendly people, and went dancing every evening. A lot of young men came to speak to me and asked me to dance.
I liked talking to them. I started to live and laugh again, and I didn't think about my dead sister all the time.
But my mother was not so happy. She wanted me to find a husband quickly one night before.
Before I went to bed, she came into my room and said, "Do you know Lord Girlfriend?" "Oh, yes," I answered.
He's that ugly old man from Kerala. He's not ugly, he's not old, Fanny. My mother said quickly.
She's from a very rich and important family too, and he wanted to marry you. He loved you, love me?
Want to marry me? But he's making a mistake, mother. I said, I don't love him. I can marry someone I don't love.
Think about it, Fanny. My mother answered quietly. He's a good man and he wants to marry you.
You very lucky young woman. My mother left the room and sat quietly for a long time. Lord Langford was a nice, friendly man, and I thought I didn't love him, no, but I did like him. He always talked about interesting things. I never feel happy at home with my mother and father, but I always feel better when I talk to him.
The next morning, when I saw my mother, I said only one word, yes.
Lord Langford and I got married the next spring.
And 2 days after our wedding, we said goodbye to my family and left
Tehran. 3 days later, we arrived in Glass, and I saw my husband's beautiful house for the first time. It was near a river. There were many trees and flowers in the garden. Birds sang in the trees, and the sky was blue. I stood next to him and looked at it all, and I feel very, very happy. Come on, my love, says my husband. You must come in and meet Martha. She cooks and cleans and knows everything about the house. So we went into the house and met Martha, a friendly old woman with smiling blue eyes.
I showed me around. She showed me around the house. Suddenly, I felt excited to be there. It was a very happy place. Woman sat in the kitchen. Man built fire in the living room, and there were dogs and cats everywhere.
Come with me now, madam, said Mother, and look at your bedroom. Then we can take up your bath. And you can wash before dinner. I followed her and soon we arrived at Big Proud Door. This is your room, she said, and she opened the door. I stood and looked, suddenly cold with fear. In front of me stood something big and black. I didn't know what it were. I thought it was an old coat, but without anybody inside. I jumped back quickly, very afraid, and moved away from the door. Is something wrong, madam? Nothing, perhaps it's nothing. I answered quickly, but I thought I saw something in there.
I saw a big black coat there. When you opened the door, Mother's face went white with fear. What's wrong? I asked her. Now you look frightened. Something bad is going to happen, she said.
When someone sees black coat in the house, you know that something bad is going to happen soon to the Glenfern family. She saw a black coat when I was a child, and the next morning old Lord Glenfern died. Something bad is going to happen here. Now, madam, I know it. We went down to have dinner. I felt unhappy and afraid, but I didn't say anything to my husband about the black coat.
I wanted to forget about it and be happy again the next day, Lord
Glenfern. And I went for a walk together to look round the house gardens because I wanted to know my new home better. I like this house, all the people here, I said, and I'm happy to be here with you. It's much better than Tyrone.
My husband was quiet for a long time. He walked with his head down thinking. Then suddenly he turned to me, took my hand and said, Fanny, listen to me. Listen carefully. There's something I must ask you.
Please, only go into the rooms in the front of the house. Never go into the rooms at the back of the building or into the little garden by the back door. Never, do you understand me, Fanny? His face was white and happy. I understood his words, but I didn't understand why. He was suddenly a different man. Here at Cuttergrillen never smiled or laughed anymore. Perhaps the back of the house were dangerous, I thought, but he didn't want to talk about it anymore.
We went back to the house without speaking, and again I tried to forget his word and to be as happy as I was before.
It was about a month later I met the other woman for the first time. One day I wanted to go for a walk in the garden. It was a beautiful day. I ran up to my room after lunch to get my hat and coat. But when I opened the door of my room, there was a woman sitting near the fire. She was about 40 years old, and she wore a black coat. Her face was white, and when I looked closely. I saw
that her eyes were white too.
she was blind. Madam, I said, this is my room. This is a mistake. Your room? She answered, a mistake? No, I don't think so. I don't think there's a mistake. Where's Lord Glenfern? Down in the living room, I said. But who are you, and why are you here in my room? Tell Lord Glenfern that I want him. Was on, she said. I must tell you that I am Lady Glenfern.
And I want you to leave my room now, I said. Lady Glenfern, you are not, she cried.
And hit my face very hard. I cried out for help, and soon Lord Glenfern arrived. I ran out of the room as he ran in, and I waited outside to listen at the door. I did not see any word, but I knew that Lord Glenfern was very angry. The blind woman was very unhappy. When he came out, I asked him, who is that woman? Why is she in my bedroom? But my husband didn't answer me. His face was white with fear. His only words were, forget her. When he came out, I asked him, who is that woman? Why is she in my bedroom?
But my husband didn't answer me. Again his face was white with fear. His only word were, forget her.
But I did not forget her, and every day it was more and more difficult to talk to my husband. He was always quiet now, always sad and afraid. He sat for hours looking into the fire with his unhappy eyes. But I didn't know why. He didn't want to tell me. One morning after breakfast, Lord Glenfern suddenly said, I have the answer. We must go away to another country, to France or Spain, perhaps. What do you think, Fanny?
He didn't wait for my answer, but left the room very quickly. I sat and thought for a long time.
Why must leave Calabrilla? I didn't understand. And I didn't want to go too far away from my mother and father in Tyrone.
They were old now, and my father was sometimes ill. They didn't love me very much, but I wanted to be near them.
I thought about it all day. I didn't know what to say to my husband when he arrived back in the evening.
And came into the dinner. I said nothing after dinner. I was very tired, and I went up to my bedroom early. I waited to have a good night's sleep, and I think about it all again the next day. I closed my eyes and went to sleep. Then I did not sleep well because I dreamed of the black coat. Suddenly I woke up. Everything was dark and very quiet. But somebody was at the end of my bed.
There were a hand with a light, and behind the light were a blind woman. She had a knife in her other hand. I tried to get out of bed and run to the door, but she stopped me. "If you want to live, don't move," she said. "Tell me one thing. Did Lord Glenfern marry you?" "Yes, he did," I answered. "He married me in front of 100 people?" "Well, that's sad," she said, "because I don't think he told you that he had a wife. Me. I'm his wife, not you, young woman. You must leave this house tomorrow, because if you stay here, you see this knife. I'm going to kill you with it." Then she left the room without a sound. I didn't sleep again that night. When morning came, I told my husband everything. "Who is the blind woman?" I asked him. "She told me last night that she is your wife. I'm not your wife." "Did you go into the rooms at the back of the house?" asked my husband angrily. "I told you that you must never go there." "But I didn't," I answered. "I was in my bed all night." She came to me. "Please tell me what is happening." My husband's face was white again, and he didn't speak for a long time. Then he said, "No, she is not my wife." "You are. Don't listen to her. She doesn't know what she is saying." And he left the room and ran to find Martha. I didn't like this house anymore. My husband was a difficult man, and he didn't understand him. I didn't understand him.
Who was the blind
woman? I wanted to know everything. "Don't cry, madam," said Martha when I found her. "Sit down, listen to me. What I'm going to tell you is not very nice. The blind woman, the woman in the black coat, is dead. You saw her go. She was married to your husband, and she was Lady Glenfern. Nobody knows how she died. Her bedroom was at the back of the house. Somebody saw her husband with a knife in his hand on the night she died." "But did he kill her?" "Nobody knows. When we found her, the knives were on the floor, next to her and her eyes. Somebody cut her eyes out after she died. Perhaps he didn't want her to see his other woman, his next wife, you." I didn't wait to speak to my husband again. I felt that day I was too afraid to stay another minute at Calabrilla. I knew that the blind woman was going to come back again and kill me. I said goodbye to Martha, took my bath, and told my driver to take me back to Tyrone. I'm happy to living here with mother and father now. This house is quiet. I sleep well each night. They are friendlier to me than they were before. Sometimes my dead sister visits me at night, but I'm never afraid. She tells me that the blind woman is trying to find me at Calabrilla, that she wants to kill me. She is jealous of me. But she can never find me there. She must wait for next Lady Flanfullen.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye bye.